So this would be a very different opening if the children were already in place and seated, and like an orchestra, they're seated, they're calm, they're quiet. But I love the choice of bringing them in. They're having fun, they're being silly. Some of them are more serious, some of them are running. And that to me means they were told, in my opinion, to have fun with this. The only time I see the kids being super serious is when they have a solo or a duet. And even the piano duet with the two girls in Moonlight Sonata, I believe, they were still kind of like, shoulder bumping and being silly. I love how they were allowed to just be crazy and silly in their warm up. Usually, adult orchestras are very calm in their tuning. They were told to just work your instruments out, and they went wild, and I love that. And then they get down to business, and it's very serious and quiet. First look comes out. The mouthpieces. The dentist, everyone fears. No one likes going to the dentist because not only is it painful, but it exposes a part of ourselves that we tend to hide. No, the mouth is our most expressive part of our body. Not only can it talk, but it can smile, it can bare its teeth. I mean, look at the work done on studying animals and their expressions when they're angry, mad, sad, want something. The same thing has been done with humans. FBI, CIA, everyone has studied facial expressions, and the mouth tells the story. So what better way to show the crackdown and the censorship of human beings than to have their mouths pried apart, exposed in the most grotesque way, simply to silence you, because you can't move your mouth. You can't only if you can only talk with your tongue, you're not going to be understood, and people will think you're crazy. So I think that's kind of why the mouthpieces work so well, because this whole narrative is, in my opinion, about censorship and government totalitarian takeover, and how the children are being taught to show adults how this world is working on social media and technology by adults with nefarious backgrounds and goals. There's lots of black looks, very sleek, very reminiscent of the original 3 Star Wars movies. Even the white jacket on top reminds me of stormtroopers. That's the whole point of Star Wars, is not to be a nerdy geekdom, but to show totalitarian regimes and governments and the rebellion against them. And now we're getting into more casual looks. Jeans, oversized shirts. I feel like that is meant to represent the working class. In theater, Pinter, the playwright, basically made famous the pregnant pause, the pause, where you feel and hear and see and feel the intent and emotion through the pausing rather than the action. And I feel that was used very well here with the pause between songs and solos. I feel like the shoes were very sensible, like you could run in them, which I thought was a great contrast to some of the other heels that were almost cutting into the feet of the models in some of the other shows this season. Lots of cowboy boot styles in this particular part. Again, I think that represents the working class of society. I mean, this could even be a commentary on the fashion industry itself, where you have the seamstresses, the tailors, the technical pattern drafters and all the people behind the scenes who aren't part of the glam and glitz per se, who are being shown in this section. Again, you see more cowboy boots, more jeans, especially with this dress coming up. It's a very, I would say this dress is almost like a modern Mennonite type dress. I live in Ohio, and I see this dress all the time, but it's just not done in jeans. Again, we have cowboy boots. Now we're starting to get away from jeans and mixing more with suits. Now, this is the first corporate look that I've seen. Still very plain and austere. Again, you have sensible shoes, but now it's turning into more corporate workwear, gothy, dark corporate workwear. You have this great, simple, elegant suit in gray, and then these pop of teal. Like these people are the people who are able to. They're in a society standpoint where they can express themselves more so than the working class, than the very rigid military class that came before. You're seeing different mixes of patterns, colors. It's quite striking compared to the other part of the collection. If this is a commentary on social media, which is what I think it truly is, and how the government is starting to step in and censor and control our social media, and we're becoming a totalitarian society, I believe these would be the influencers, the ones who are allowed to show different sides and different expressions. They have color, they have the gray, they have the black, but there's pops of turquoise, pastel turquoise. There's mixes of different styles in one outfit, and then you're still in the corporate realm. I love how the music is almost very has a clown-like kind of circusy appeal, almost like it's making fun of the seriousness of the models as they're walking. Like, this is a fashion show, but it's almost like this is a show within a show, showing a mirror to our society that we are always being shown a performance when it comes to media, social media, big media, corporate media. This looks like false purity to me, almost like Erica Kirk when she was saying I forgive him, and she was at the Charlie Kirk. And she was at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, which was basically entertainment and a show. There's black mourning. They're juxtaposed by the females in their white dresses and gowns and suits, as you can see here. Very false purity, in my opinion. It still has that corporate edge. The men are all very serious, very almost like FBI, CIA style clothing, until we get to this beautiful outfit, which is the link to the next part. Now, this is where the tone changes for me. When Moonlight Sonata comes on, it's like the depression that's following depravity. So you know something is wrong, but you're not able to pinpoint it. The music is so dissonant and so beautiful, but done because it's done by children, it's not perfect. And you have all these beautiful, luxurious prints and textures layered and draped and folded on each other. It almost reminds me of like bed rot, like that whole trend of just, oh, I'm so depressed, I'm gonna rot in my bed. And I'm not saying that there aren't people who are depressed and rotting in their bed, because I was one of them years and years ago. But I feel like it's showing this luxury draped models in a depressive state after the depravity of a party or the over the top. Like, you go out to a party, you do things you might not want to, or you think, oh wait, here, all the women are sumptuous and layered and gorgeously attired, and then all the men are very, like, almost hobo chic. And I think that says a lot about his view on men in society, that we have women dressed to the nines, like this look here, and even this with the colors and the play and the layering, but it's very like rumpled bed like. And I love that. As I watched this, the two little girls playing the big bass drum together just were a joy. Look at them having fun. They're just looking at each other, laughing. Like, this is not serious to them. I'm sure it is. I'm sure they took this very seriously, but they don't understand, because they're children, how serious this is. And I do believe it's like the models, it's like children will lead the way. So the children are leading the models through their steps in a very disjointed, the models can barely find their walk because of how dissonant and how there are so many mistakes, but it's still beautiful in the music, and it's hard for them to even, the models, to even find the beat to walk to. I love the shirt with the skirt. Fabulous, very elegant, very over the top. And then you bring out the man, who is in, similar, but it's much sleeker. It's cut more masculine, to the point that it's almost making a point. I don't know if the point is that men's fashion is too austere, is too plain, and so he's juxtaposing it with these oh my god, I love this white dress. It's just so different than the menswear, like, to the point where the menswear almost doesn't fit in. The trumpet solo, perfection as they're walking. I mean, just brings about the change in clothing. Now are the two looks, homme and femme. The homme look has a very beautiful jacket that is still bedroom look. It is also the first time we see male in bright red color like that. First time you see anyone in a bright red, sleek color like that. It is extremely off-putting, especially next to that simple male look. Here is the women's version. As you can see, both the male and female version are spangled. The red is spangled like the Star Spangled Banner, which we'll get into in a bit. You have the widow, the grieving funeral attendant, who is also with the final two looks, which leads me to believe that the red, almost bulletproof vest over the beautiful French toile type silk dress is almost like the Statue of Liberty having been shot and blood all over her. I think it's stunning. It's gorgeous. It's so contrast, like that very almost gaudy, glittery red, but it's so beautifully balanced with the silk and blue and white. At first I didn't like it at all, but the more I watch it move and shimmer, and then you have the male, who is, it almost reads as if he is a British colonizer of India. The way his clothing is styled, it's very Indian colonization, but very bloody. You have the dress again. They're really pushing these three looks: the male red bloody clothing, and then really pushing this Death of Liberty, which could also be UK's red, white, and blue as well. So it could be UK and US, especially with their partnership in the marketplace. And France's colors are red, white, and blue as well, and they are who gave us United States the Statue of Liberty. So I believe that all ties in, and I believe that is the death of freedom. It's red, white, and blue. You can't deny that symbolism. And as we're going through this phase of freedom in America and all across the world, especially with the UK's new digital ID, you're seeing the death of freedom through social media, with the censorship, through censorship all over, and that we will soon not have freedom. And the chaotic music, the unbelievable finale, and then this clumbering, awkward march for the models who can't really find the beat to walk to. It's almost like oversaturated media, social media, understood and run by children, making the adults in this unable to find their rhythm. So that's a very great commentary on how the world is today. Children know more about technology, at least, than my generation. I'm like the Gen Y, like I was born in 1980. And so I grew up with emerging technology, but I don't understand as much of the new technology as children do. Maybe not children quite as young as that, but they're growing up in a society that is ruled by digital and AI and all that. And now they're all walking out. The last look is entered, and it's just this like chaotic. They can't find their walk. Like as you watch, you can't meld the models' walks to the music. It's so chaotic, and it's showing this entrance of these adults who are the show, but the children's music is driving it, and it is but the best thing about it, they have a adult orchestra leader, which granted, I'm sure they would have an adult orchestra leader, but how much more powerful? I mean, it depends on what he's trying to say. If he's trying to say that the children are being led astray by adults in power, who are then the children then are leading astray the adults who aren't in power, that's one thing. But I think it would have been really interesting to have a child conductor. But I don't know if that was his message. But I adore this collection. And while each look was not a hit for me, overall the storytelling was there.